What if the most dangerous government secret wasn't a weapon that targeted cities, but one that targeted the very essence of who we are? For 2 decades, in the shadows of the Cold War, the CIA ran a top-secret program with a terrifying objective: to control the human mind. And when the truth threatened to surface, they didn't just bury it, they burned it. But the ashes still whisper stories of a dark chapter in American history, the story of Project MKUltra. The mid-20th century was a time of unprecedented global tension. The Cold War gripped the world in a silent but deadly conflict, a battle of ideologies where paranoia reigned supreme. For the United States, the enemy was the Soviet Union, a power perceived to be relentless and ruthless. And within the halls of American intelligence, a chilling fear began to take root: the fear of brainwashing. Reports from the Korean War seemed to confirm the unthinkable. American prisoners of war were appearing on television, reciting anti-American propaganda with vacant eyes. Simultaneously, in Hungary, Cardinal József Mindszenty, a staunch critic of the communist regime, confessed to ludicrous crimes in a show trial, his demeanor dazed and compliant. To the CIA, this wasn't just coercion, it was something far more sinister: sophisticated Soviet mind control techniques. This perceived brainwashing gap ignited a fire in the minds of America's top intelligence officials, most notably Allen Dulles, the director of Central Intelligence. Driven by an almost obsessive fear, Dulles saw the development of similar capabilities not just as advantageous, but as a matter of national survival. On April 13, 1953, Dulles formally authorized Project MKUltra, a program shrouded in such secrecy that it was shielded from normal agency oversight. But while publicly condemning Soviet brain perversion techniques, Dulles was privately unleashing a far more insidious program on his own citizens. Leading the charge on the ground was a figure as brilliant as he was unsettling: Dr. Sidney Gottlieb. A biochemist with a hidden intensity, Gottlieb became the operational director of MKUltra, earning the grim moniker, the Poisoner in Chief. Gottlieb was captivated by the potential of psychoactive drugs, particularly LSD, believing it held the key to unlocking and ultimately controlling the human mind. His operational philosophy was stark and brutal. To implant a new mind, one must first find a way to destroy the one already there. This chilling premise would drive the horrific experiments of MKUltra. As MKUltra gained momentum, its methods became increasingly disturbing. The pursuit of mind control led the CIA down a rabbit hole of unethical and often barbaric experimentation. One of the most shocking examples of this descent was a sub-project codenamed Operation Midnight Climax. In safe houses in major American cities, the CIA, through a federal narcotics agent named George White, hired prostitutes. Their mission? To lure unsuspecting men back to these CIA-run brothels, where they would be secretly dosed with LSD. Behind one-way mirrors, CIA agents watched, documented, and even filmed the effects of the drug, all in the name of research. The victims were never informed, their privacy and consent utterly disregarded. The CIA's reach extended far beyond its own clandestine operations. It began to infiltrate and co-opt respected institutions, turning places of healing and learning into unwitting partners in their dark experiments. In Montreal, at the Allen Memorial Institute, Dr. D. Ewan Cameron, a former president of both the American and World Psychiatric Associations, received CIA funding for his radical techniques. His methods were brutal. Depatterning, which involved subjecting patients to weeks of drug-induced comas and massive doses of electroshock therapy, aimed at erasing their existing personalities. Once the mind was supposedly blank, he would employ psychic driving, playing endless loops of simple commands for up to 20 hours a day. His victims? Often individuals admitted for minor conditions like postpartum depression or anxiety, their lives irrevocably shattered. Across the border, at a federal prison in Kentucky, Dr. Harris Isbell conducted equally appalling experiments. His target? a captive population of African American drug addicts. In one particularly disturbing study, he administered LSD to 7 men for 77 consecutive days, the only reward for their consent being doses of high-purity heroin. The human cost of MKUltra was immense, leaving a trail of psychological devastation and shattered lives. But perhaps the most tragic and telling story is that of Dr. Frank Olson. Olson was a top U.S. Army biochemist working in conjunction with the CIA on biological warfare. In November 1953, at a secluded retreat, Olson's colleagues, under the direction of Sidney Gottlieb, secretly dosed him with LSD. He was never told. Over the next few days, Olson suffered a severe psychological breakdown. 9 days after being dosed, he plunged to his death from the 13th floor window of his New York City hotel room. The CIA initially covered up their involvement. The official ruling, suicide. As the years passed, whispers of the CIA's clandestine activities began to surface. By the early 1970s, the Watergate scandal had eroded public trust in the government and emboldened congressional investigators. Sensing the walls closing in, the CIA took drastic action. In January 1973, then DCI Richard Helms issued a direct order: destroy all MKUltra files. 7 crates of documents, detailing decades of illegal human experimentation, were systematically shredded and burned. Despite the CIA's efforts to erase its history, the truth, or at least fragments of it, began to emerge. In December 1974, investigative journalist Seymour Hersh published a bombshell report in the New York Times exposing the CIA's illegal domestic activities, including non-consensual drug experiments. This sparked public outrage and led to the formation of the Church Committee, a Senate investigation that, in 1975, publicly revealed the shocking details of Project MKUltra. Simultaneously, a presidential commission led by Nelson Rockefeller also investigated CIA abuses, corroborating the Church Committee's findings. But perhaps the most crucial breakthrough came through the persistent efforts of author and researcher John Marks. Through a Freedom of Information Act request, Marks unearthed a misfiled collection of approximately 20,000 financial documents related to MKUltra, records that had somehow escaped Helms's purge. These Marks files, while not containing the details of every experiment, provided irrefutable proof of MKUltra's vast scope, revealing the names of over 80 universities, hospitals, and other institutions involved in the program. Even with the revelations of the Church Committee and the discovery of the Marks files, many questions about MKUltra remain unanswered. How many individuals were truly victimized, their lives forever altered by these secret experiments? Were any of the MKUltra techniques successfully deployed in the field? Did the CIA ever create a real-life Manchurian candidate? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all, did this research truly end in 1973? Or did it simply evolve and disappear deeper into the shadows of classified black projects?